I would say scanning is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity for a dental office.
Welcome to another episode of the Well Rooted podcast. In this episode, we have a conversation with Mohit Suryavanshi, a very known dental technician from India. He shares valuable insights into how things have changed in his workflow from going from the analog world to the digital world. So stay tuned. Hello, Mohit. Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Much appreciated. So, the intention of this podcast is to try and see what the dentist can learn from a lab perspective. Now, I don't know when is the last time the dentist actually visited the lab, so we're hoping to get some valuable insights by speaking to you today. And you can perhaps contribute to the knowledge of the dentist from a lab perspective.
Thank you, Dr. Pradeep. First of all, I would like to say a few words of gratitude for asking a lab's perspective towards today's dental industry. Now, when I have to look at the dental lab industry today, it's evolved like crazy, and we are glad that we are a witness to this entire phenomenon. It is the time when we started with manually made analog dentures, and today time is when dentures are in trend. They can be printed or they can be milled. So much of workflow changes have come up, and we are staying abreast with each one of the workflow today.
So, I'll start off with a few simple questions. The first one is you're located in the city of Kolhapur in western Maharashtra. It's a small city, and how has that been for you? Do you miss out on the fact that your lab is not located in a bigger city?
Being based in Kolhapur, which is a town, which is a gateway to the Western Ghats, towards the Konkan, towards the Arabian Sea. It's a very nice town in terms of weather and in quality of life. Yes, it I did face some challenges being a dental lab located and situated in Kolhapur, but it was for just for I would say for a few years. But later on, I look at myself when I look at myself when I look at the way how we could bring the lab, how we could raise the bar. I feel it is kind of a blessing because Kolhapur gives me a lot of peace of mind. I am here amidst the nature. I have really good artists who can work for me, who are open to be taught well. So the people who work in my office are they have a small, like they have an element of being an artist, which I thought I would bring out of them. And now, when it comes to digital dentistry, we also have very smart fingers and very techno savvy guys. Both of them, both type of people I can find in my town. And as you say, if you say that it's a challenge, it's a challenge. If you say it's an opportunity, it's an opportunity. My role was to bring the best out of it. And I'm very glad today that I am in Kolhapur and I could really manage well, and I have no regrets. I'm loving every moment of it.
So, at the back of that question, you've gone digital. Your lab is mostly digital. Has that then helped the situation? Because I suppose dentists can do a lot of digital records, scans, and
Yes,
whatnot, and then just send it to you. And does that make your life a little easier?
yes. The things changed when COVID arrived. I had a lot of cases coming pan India, but still, because of my location, because of the logistic, some kind of we had limitations. People hesitated to share or send cases to my lab, even though they knew that they could get a quality product from us. But they were hesitant because of the logistics, because of my location. Things changed. Digital dentistry came up. Now it was just sharing the scans. So all my valued dentists who bought their own scanners They start sharing the scans, and that's how whenever they take a scan, within 10 minutes, it's in our email or it's on the gateway platform of the scanner. And we can always have a one-is-to-one discussion discussing about the quality of the scan, if there is anything to be done, if there is any preparation, modification to be done, or if there is anything more that a lab requires. And that was as easy as that. So post COVID and post digital dentistry took up, I would say, work has increased fourfold with us, and the
And
precision of the work too.
do you still get any sort of manual impressions at the moment, or is it all 100% digital?
No, manual impressions are still there. It's when I'm talking about digital impressions or digital dentistry, it's not yet it is not yet accepted by a lot of people. If you say example of Kolhapur itself, I would say if it's 100 dentists are working in Kolhapur for an example, then I would say about 7 dentists have purchased a digital scanner. That's the ratio. So there's still more people who need to understand and who need to feel the necessity. Digital dentistry is no longer a luxury; it's a necessity. The earlier you get into the game, it's better for everyone.
Isn't it true that when somebody does take a manual impression, you pour a model, you pour a cast, and actually you scan the cast and then you follow the digital protocol? Is that does that sound right?
Yes. See, everything now is will get digital. Either we get a digital impression, or if we get an analog cast, thereafter the lab will convert it into digital data. So the ultimate production, the designing and the machining or the printing, whatever or in whatever form we want to go ahead with, will be fully digital. That is for sure, and it is inevitable.
Suppose you've received a scan from a dentist. Personally, for me, if the lab technician said, "Well, I think there's a problem there, and could you do a little correction there? Perhaps a little bit more reduction to get more clearance or something like that." How does it work with you?
So you're talking about how we respond when we receive an analog impression or a digital impression.
Digital impression, or even analog.
Yes, those were the days when we did not even have a WhatsApp or a communicating tool. We had to verbally explain, and you can understand the kind of a friction that is there between whenever we need to have this kind of a dialogue, a dental lab and dental clinic. There's always, it's not on a good note. It's not on a, it's just the acceptability that we require from both the sides. Then came WhatsApp. We could at least take the photographs, their real-time photographs or a video, and share it with the dentist. They could realize, yes, something is what was seen in the impression is not exactly what is seen after we reproduce it into a class 4 diastole model. So, and now when it's digital scans, we simply create a kind of an HTML type of a file and we share it with the dentist. And in fact, he can do the analysis himself before he sends it to us. He has the possibility after taking a scan, he can visualize it on a big monitor of his, and he can just look every bit of the scan and analyze for himself if anything is to be done to get it better. If not, they send a scan to us. We spend some time over it. We take a look at it from all aspects, and we give our feedback if something is to be done. So now things have become easy when it has become digital dentistry, for sure.
If there were a few things that you really wanted a dentist to understand, suppose you were giving a message to the dentist from a lab point of view, what would that be? What would those messages be?
So I would say today is the right time to be a dentist. And for me, today is the right time to be with the right dentist. This is what I feel today. It's all what that matters is the synergy. Like-minded people come together. So for me, today I have like-minded dentists who themselves are mentors. I get to learn a lot of things from them, and it's fun working with like-minded people who help me grow, and we are able to document cases. We are able to nicely present them in congresses. That adds pleasure to my profession. Otherwise, lab work is nothing but a boring bench job. But we have changed the perspective altogether. We are loving what we are doing. We have a proper dedicated photography table over here. So whatever cases we do, every steps. So for the dentist also, it's kind of a great thing. His portfolio is completed. He is taking efforts of documenting his cases, the clinical side. We help him complete the circle in the lab, and it's kind of rewarding when we see our own cases looking brilliant in the patient's mouth and being presented in congresses on a huge screen. It definitely gives me immense pride looking at those cases. Yes.
Amazing. One of the things that the dentist sends is a scan. And
Yes.
what is the value of taking good photos in addition to the scan? And how does that help? How much does that help?
Yes, it does help because even if it was not digital, also if it was analog, we always expected images. We need to relate to something that what we are doing. We need to add some value to the case, and value can be only added if we know what type of a case we are doing, who's the patient. We need to add life to that particular case. So definitely images speak a lot rather than having thousand words, as we say. So images are very, very important for us right now. The case starts at the planning stage. So we need diagnostic scans, the study scans or the study models if it's going analog, and then we require a full face smile at rest and a retracted view. So we get a complete understanding of the oral situation, and then we can have a dialogue with the dentist, and so on. We can proceed with the needful procedures. Like we can do we can do a mock-up which can result into some partially bonded veneers or full crowns or some bridges or some orthodontic corrections, but it all starts at the diagnostic phase. So much of my work today, I would say, is if it's a count of 10, 5 cases a day would be for the diagnostic phase. 5 would be for the production. Yeah.
Going back to what you said earlier, uh, because of the digital workflow, uh, your workflow has improved, and you said the photographs play a vital role. Do you have anybody who does a face scan and provides that to you, or do you
Yes,
have
we
a
do
system to
have.
integrate that?
Yes, we do have, and it really works. But not as I would say, the amount of people who are using lab scanners is still not up to the mark. So face scanners, if it is I would say it will take time to. And also we have some apps that have come for the Apple users, and it's the Q-Loan Dental. They have dedicated it for the dental app also. I've heard it's quite an efficient app too. So you don't need to have a facial scanner. There are facial scanners, but very soon it will be more of the photogrammetry.
Can you talk a little bit more about that photogrammetry?
It will influence my work. We still don't have, we are still not getting those type of scans, but it will definitely revolutionize, and it will add more precision, because it is it's more of extracting 3D data from 2D information also. Okay, so it will definitely add value to the next level of scans, and majorly it will be used in implant dentistry, wherein we'll have some precise scan locators, and we'll have the scan flags, which will help us achieve more precision. Right now, if it is a full arch implant case, we are relying on digital scans, but not as much as we would love to have analog impression when it comes to a full mouth implant case. That's where photogrammetry would really play a vital role. adding value to the whole process and eliminating errors.
Right. So you mentioned you still need a analog impression for doing a full arch implant case. Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah. Yes, right now
So
we are getting digital impressions, but we go through a lot of steps. Like, we after printing the model, after receiving the 3D scan of that implant case, we make a stone verification jig. It's a die stone verification jig, which is very, very rigid, and that is sent to the dentist, and he would try into the patient's mouth. If it's too active, then it will be broken in between, and it will be rejoined, it will be sealed, and that would be our reference model based on that jig, which has been intraorally splinted again now, wherever it has broken, will be our verified implant position. Based on that, we'll create a model. So now the data, which was digital, which has been sent to us, that will be used for the understanding of the soft tissue placement and rest. But the implant placement will be valid only from the new cast that has been poured on the verified jig.
we recently went to the IDS Cologne fair in a few
Yes,
months ago, and we saw a lot of emphasis, I'd like to think, on printing.
yes,
I mean, I've never seen that before. I saw metal being printed, and it was mind-boggling to see. And the rate at which they produced the models was also, it was a lot of models in a very short period of time. So tell us how 3D printing has played a role in the workflow within your lab.
you cannot think about a lab without a 3D printer now. Now, even a dental clinic should have a 3D printer. That is for sure. So every clinic better have a 3D printing machine as per the, whatever a person can afford. We have state of art 3D printers in our lab. We have the Asiga Max, yeah, and we also have some printers from Accurata, which is a Taiwanese company, quite promising. But the Asigas are the best ones, and they run the show like almost around the clock. They are printing everything. We are printing splints, we are printing models, we are printing implant models, we are printing castables. So we are absolutely relied on the printers today because whatever we'll be designing has to be either machined or to be printed. So there is no other way out. So printing is inevitable. And when it comes to the clinics, I would say you can give your patient immediate, after if you have a diagnostic cast already done, you can always, the way we have a diagnostic cast, you can always have a printed temp to be given to your patient along with that. So it will be very easy. You can get it designed from the lab. He sends you a file, you print it within an hour or so, and you can deliver the patient with the biocompatible materials that they have today.
So we also saw in the show there were a few dentures that were made, and I looked at them and they looked of such amazing quality. And before seeing those dentures, I was actually thinking, no, maybe the time isn't right just yet for digital dentures. But that looking at those models, it kind of changed my perspective altogether, and they look so much, even nicer than a traditional
Yes.
denture technique. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's evolving. Dentures are evolving. Like, there is a possibility that you can print the dentures, you can print the base, print the teeth, and then join them together, or you can mill either of them and join them together. I'm basically not much into removables, so I'm just waiting to understand more about them. But surely we'll go for them soon.
Following the theme of printing, uh, so I've seen crowns being milled, like zirconia crowns being milled, and they seem to be very, very accurate. I'm not sure what the number is, but they are very accurate. Now, do we have a 3D printed crown in the market that can go on as a permanent restoration in the mouth, or are we still classing them as prototypes or temporaries?
No, you do have something called as a permanent resin crowns, which are wire compatible, which are mostly composite crowns with fillers. So, but they are hybrid materials. There's nothing like a zirconia that is yet that can be printed, or there is no lithium disilicate that can be printed.
So you still need to follow the lost wax technique for a Emax press crown. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, either you can, for press, you of course you need to follow the lost wax, or you can mill it. You can have a wet milling in the blue phase of Emax, the Emax CAD block that is there.
Correct. So you can do a lost wax technique and a mill technique as well
Yes,
for
yeah, lost
Emax
wax
crowns.
technique majorly for the labs, but for the clinic you can you can design a veneer probably, and you can straight away mill the Emax in the blue phase, and you can do the post processing the clinic itself in a furnace. That's all.
Amazing. So something like Serec, I guess, it would be one example.
Serec is a system wherein you can mill this thing, the Emax CADs. Also, you can mill small zirconia blocks. Also now, there you get zirconia blocks. You can mill a single unit or something of that sort, or a 3 unit bridge, depending on the block size.
So we've seen people use scans, and I've seen the workflow in your lab when I visited your lab, and we saw you were using a digital articulator to sort of line the occlusion in a way. So my question to you is, do you have dentists, or do you have many dentists who provide any kind of a jaw tracing, jaw tracking movements when they send work to you?
There is a possibility of sending all these, but at the moment, I have no one who is sending me these in India.
Okay, okay.
But as we
Yeah,
as you were a witness, whatever was there in the IDS, it was more of the jaw tracking systems. We could see all of them, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like the
I mean,
Itaka, the Mod Jaw, and many
yeah,
others. Yeah, very promising ones.
absolutely. I think for me, it narrowed down to intraoral scanning, face scanning, jaw tracking
Yeah,
movements, and printing.
yes,
Like, these were the sort of areas that and of course, I was looking at it purely from a restorative point of view because that's where my passion lies, and I'm sure there was a lot of other things to see as well. But these things caught my attention, so it was interesting to see what developments they've made. I don't think a scanner is going to actually translate or equate to greater profits, but I do think it will help your workflow immensely. You know, once I look at the scans that I have done of preps, and I look at them and I'm like, oh, they don't look as nice as I thought they looked in the mouth. In spite of using loops, when you actually blow up the scan and you can see, all the small details, and you realize, yeah, I need to work a little bit better at those, better finishes, and so many other things. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that the scanner is a valuable tool? Should the dentist invest in one?
yes. See, if you want to do bad dentistry, stay away from digital dentistry. Okay, but if you want to do good dentistry, it is a boon, I would say. It's not a magic wand, but it is something that will accelerate your workflow. It will reduce your mental wear. It will reduce your physical wear. It will limit, what do we say? It will limit your consumables wastage, so many other things which are invisible, literally invisible, but the time that will remain with you in hand will be too much. You will have the pleasure of the time in which you have been taking an analog impression. You spent that time looking and analyzing your digital impression. You can take it again. There's nothing that's going to get lost. Yeah. So I would say scanning is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity for a dental office. Earlier the better.
Right. So we were talking a little bit earlier about Emax crowns. whether it's a lost wax technique or it was a mill technique. So, what is the, I mean, I'm looking at veneers particularly. What is the minimum thickness that you can make of a Emax press?
See, for the production, we need to at least have a thickness of 0.5 millimeters when it's going for the pressing. If it's going for the milling, we need to have milling. When I say milling, it is in the blue phase, the Emax CAD block.
Yeah,
The design should have 0.7 millimeters as a thickness
cool.
so that it's safe because all the tools, it is wet mill. The Emax CAD is milled in the wet uh, with having water jets in the blue phase. Emax press is the lost wax technique. So for that, even if we can reduce the thickness of the veneer to 0.3 millimeters, but the production, while doing the production, it should have a minimum thickness of 0.5 millimeters. Otherwise, it will not be produced successfully.
So, given that is the case, what are your thoughts on having no prep veneers?
Yes, no prep veneer. See, basically, there is nothing like a no prep veneer. Every case is different. So we have to do a digital mock-up or a study diagnostic mock-up. That will decide if it is a minimally prep, if it is a no prep, or if it is a invasively prep. If it is a partially bonded crown, or if it's going to go for a 360-degree coverage crown. So it's we cannot just say I want a no prep veneer. We need to first have a mock-up of it. We need to only then it will be decided. Yeah.
Yeah. So if the thickness is already more than 0.5 millimeters, I suppose you're not doing hardly any prep at all. You're probably just doing the finishing lines. So that sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a peg lateral or something. It is a missing area. If
Correct.
if the areas are very like if it's just a fragment of, we also are doing the refractory technique of veneers, which are is a completely different game altogether. We'll not talk about that. But when you're talking about lithium disilicate solutions or the Empress aesthetic solution, which is the way of the loss technique, what you just said, we have to follow this.
Brilliant. We've done another video in your lab about making a crown in a traditional way and from in a digital way as well. So I'll put a description link
Hmm.
in the comment section, and some of our viewers can actually have a look at those just to see how it's all done in the lab.
Yes.
On the theme of mental health, have there been any challenges in your life that really got you into a difficult position? And really what I'm looking for is, if you had those kind of situations, how did you manage them? What advice do you have to other people who are having mental health issues or difficult times in their lives?
I would say find some points of interest in your everyday work because working at least 8 hours a day is inevitable. So make the workplace as ergonomic, as beautiful, and as welcoming as possible. Life will be very easy. Spare some time for yourself, breathe some fresh air, go into the jungles, and what more because dentistry is more of bench work. So try to see avenues beyond that. Unfortunately, I was able to seek those. This profession has allowed me to travel the world. I have seen places, I've met people, made a lot of friends. Adds a lot of value to this entire practice for me, sitting in this small town of Kolhapur, yet connected with the rest of the world. It's amazing, I would say. So find interest in everyday cases, invest in your practice, invest in the newer gadgets, immaterial of the profit and loss scenario. It's just staying abreast, getting into the groove, like getting into the learning curve and understanding everything right on time. That's my
Brilliant.
advice. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Mohit, it's been brilliant speaking to you. There's going to be another part to this, but I appreciate all the time you spent with us today. And I'm sure all our listeners will be very grateful for your valuable input. Thank you very much, Mohit. We'll be in touch soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great Sunday. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.